Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, this is Eddie Marcus again this morning. This is a Thursday morning. I want to thank you so very much for stopping on this post. I want to recognize that some cities and some states are stating that they're going to make some changes or making changes relative to the conduct of what they call second-class citizens and trying to redress some of the situations. Some of them have been minimal, but to acknowledge that some effort is being made is fair. Now, the value of these efforts basically is saying that the people who have benefited from this situation, not all of them now, but many of them are saying, yeah, well, this is wrong, we're sorry about it, so we're going to start doing these things. And you know what those things are. You hear them on the news. You know what they're talking about. But as I listen and hear them talk about doing these things, it affirms what I have concluded, that it is what they fail to do that allows these things to continue to exist. And so me, as one who stands up for what I have learned to believe is the best way to be, and I don't find anyone taking any issue with me or joining on board with this, so I have to conclude that perhaps I might be out here by myself. But if I'm out here by myself, I'm really sad for the people, and at the same time I'm glad that I can have compassion and empathy for people all around me and for others as well, and I can take this information and share it with others. You see, I'm going to tell you what it's based upon, ladies and gentlemen. It might not matter to you, but it does to me. There are a couple of things that happened in my life that made me accept the fact that there's a power bigger than man's power, than this government's power, any government power on earth. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened, but I'm going to give you a scenario. Let's say you're at a bridge, high bridge, and you're going to jump off that bridge. Now, normally you could get killed, you could die from jumping off this bridge, but for some strange reason, it might be the attitude of R. Kelly's song, "You Believe You Can Fly," because you believe you can jump off this bridge, and having jumped off that bridge, you will survive. You believe it beyond a shadow of doubt. And so you carry yourself to the bridge that you want, that you know you can master, you can fly from. And so you jump off this bridge. And it just so happens that as you jump off this bridge, there's this big old My Pillow truck comes by with all of the pillows on it. And you happen to fall into the bed of that truck with all those pillows on it. And you end up with a soft fall right there in the bed with all of my pillows. Now, to some, that was a miracle, because there is no way that your believing jumping off that bridge was going to enable you, an individual, to fly no more than would anybody else. That you had a destructive end coming up. So the fact that that truck came around at the same time was absolutely a miracle. Somebody might say you were lucky, but it ended up being a miracle. Okay. Now, if that happened to you, then at first, when that happened, you might have thought the only one way you can look at that is that it was a miracle once you think about what could have happened. What really could have happened. Especially since you did not get to where you were trying to go. All right? Now let me give you another scenario. Because somebody might try to say something else about that. Look, that's when I was talking about that. Look. Now let's say you're walking or down the street that you have been walking for years and years and years. And it's night. And for this particular night, the lights go out. And by the lights being out, you can't really see. But you don't need to see. Why? Because you're walking down a path you've been walking all your life, and it's wide enough, protective enough. All you got to do is just walk, and you'll get there. But unbeknownst, all of a sudden, something happens that you can't control. Something pulls you to the side. Something turns you around. And something sends you running, and you don't know why. You have no idea why. But you come back to investigate now to see what made this happen. And as you investigate, you find another move in the direction that you're in would have caused you the greatest danger to your existence that you could ever imagine. Now you fill in the blank about what your danger is. Whatever your danger is, something that you would know nothing about, and there it is. You know nothing. Out of nowhere, something from you nowhere, no not where, is there to protect you, to make sure that everything is okay with you. And the only role you played was the tool, the instrument, however you want to refer to it, that this happened through and to. And then once you find out, God dog, when you really see a power that, hey, you can't deny that. You can't deny that. When you see a power, you know you went from your mom. You thought you were going to God, but you went to the state. Now you seen something the state could never do. You seen something the state could never do. And so you have to say, the state ain't all. And so that knowledge, for some, and then it depends, I guess it depends on who you are. For me, I found out that I am important. What does that mean? Human beings are important. I was protected from danger, something that would cause me harm or even my life. What does that mean? That's what God is about, and where God is living, that's how God is known. When you see people going through changes and all that kind of stuff, you do something about it. That's what God is about. That's how God is known. And out of all the things we see people trying to do as far as making changes to show that they got some compassion for and empathy for the 200 years of suffrage that people have gone through as second-class citizens, and they want to do some minor things, it might be great things, or just some things that are different, so they can show that they regret what they've done. And they might think that's a great deal. But it's okay, it's a move, but it's not a great deal. It's not a great deal at all. Why? Because unless you're eradicating the cause of what, and you say, what caused it? Like when you walk out on the porch in the morning, say you got a deck, and your deck seems like it's about to fall off because you can't afford to have it repaired. When you come out and look across the street and you see that there have been wildfires in your community, burning up most of the homes and houses and stuff that have been in your community, and people are suffering. When you turn the news on and you find out that there are people going through all kinds of changes, struggling and fighting, trying to survive, what does it make you feel like? Do you get disgusted at the people and say where these people come from? Are these people, look, I feel if we could care at least half about one another as we do about our pets, we'd be on a good foot. What's happening, my friends, what's got to change, my friends, is that we got to know God. We don't know God, but we got to get a relationship with God. We just got to do that. Ain't no ifs and ands about it. That's the only way out of this hell that we're in. So what I basically mean is this. We got to be to one another what we want God to be to us. Let me say that one more time. We have to be to one another what we want God to be to us. Now, with all the little things and trinkets that the system want to give black people, no. Forget it. Forget it. And black people and people of color and all of those of you who have been suffering for all of these 400 years, there's no way that you or anybody that's led by the Spirit of God would have it acknowledged, to have the world to see. It's like a court, the day of the courts. You know, you go to court. You go to court, and they got a trial that you didn't even ask for. It just came out of the blue. It seemed like it just came out of the blue. And it was an indictment. It was an indictment on the power structures of the world. In America, it was an indictment of white supremacy. It was also alleged of a mistreatment of a citizen population that were reduced to second-class citizens. All of this, my friends, this was a court. And before the world, people got a chance to see the action that is being judged. But this is not a singular judge up there. This is the nation, the people of not just this country, but all over the world where you saw this act. You saw this here presentation presented before you. So you, my friends, can make a judgment. And they say, yeah, you make a judgment. This is held out before you. You can see the proceedings. You can see everything. You see the power. You see how it corrupt. You see how evil it is. And you see the pain and suffering that it causes. And you see that it doesn't matter how much pain, how much suffering it causes. That's why Donald Trump can talk about killing people that exposes the lies that he tells. That's what it is all about. And it's put on your table to make a choice. Who are you? Out of everything that you've been brought up to be by coming, living in this world, watching this world, out of all of these things, who and where are you? How, with this truth that has been made available to you, that exposes this evilness to you, where are you? Now, if they can say, we're going to give these little trinkets out, and you walk away feeling victorious, that's your judgment. That tells you you know nothing about God. You might not like it like that, but that's the evidence. You know nothing about God. There's no way God is a part of this and that decision. No, it's like walking around in the darkness, bumping your head against all kinds of things, and somebody turn the switch on, and you see what you've been bumping your head up against. You don't continue walking around bumping your head up against it. No, my friend, the light is on. No more bumping. All of that stuff is fixed. Either because you can see it and go around it, or it's removed. So, when the light comes, you got to walk in the light. So don't be come talking to me about taking the stroke hole off it. No, when you walk out on your deck should be fixed. When you go out there and get your car should be fixed. When you're on the way to your job, you're excited. And really excited. Why? Because you're going to the playground to be who you are. To shine. To do your thing. With those things that are done by others. That's going to produce and reflect the best that it can be done by you. Y'all. At this point, at this time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think I got my point over to you. My point over to you is this. Unless we can take a, well, let me see. No, I might not have this over to you. So let me see about that again. All right. Unless we can design our program that the citizens of this nation's needs, wants, and desires are met. Unless we can assure that the basic essentials that are necessary for just life maintenance are guaranteed. That includes, but not limited to, food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, unlimited and unrestricted. That we have access to our careers of choice that gives us our greatest joys. And so by our exercise that we create to the reservoir of goods and services everything that would allow us to have peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of our life and the fulfillment of our dreams. Unless we determine how to do that, starting, I don't care where we've come from, but starting right now, depending and determining where we want to go and how we're not going to have it any other way. Unless we're doing that, we're just doing the same old, same old. So now you get what I said, because I made it clear. If you want to start talking about any actions, you got to change. And when you make that change, it's no better for you, white people who have been calling yourselves superior, than it is for the man who's been living, Indian native, who's been living on the street in a tent. In other words, life, my friends, is there for both of you. And if you don't want to live like the man in the tent, you use your education, use your power to make sure that the man in the tent can live like you, if so desired. Now I rest my case. Goodbye.